This is just the beginning. You guys ready for the next comment? Very funny guy goes up all over town. Put your hands together for the very funny Matt Payton.
Thank you very much. I think we're connecting already. So, like probably most of us in this room, I'm not a big fan of how I look. And by that I mean you're not a fan of how I look. I'm not a handsome man. Looks-wise, I peaked when I was 3. I was tearing ass back then. So we'll start at the beginning. When I was a kid, I was the smallest person in my class. The runt of the litter, if you will. Now, I know this might be a lot to handle. What? You? The towering Adonis we see before us? Classic ugly duckling story. But it's true. I was smaller than all the girls in school up until high school, when I finally hit a growth spurt and became their size. Which, as you can guess, was super attractive. I had to fight them off with a child-sized stick. I saw it in the toys department. And being short as a boy is about one of the worst things you can be growing up. The only way to make it more clear is, imagine you're a girl and you have one tiny visible imperfection. It's almost as bad as that. Split ends, unfuckable. It's tough. But that didn't stop me from playing sports as a lad. You should have seen me out there, actually, running up and down the field, sweat pouring from my brow, getting flags waved left and right. I was the best rodeo clown that 8th grade ever saw. And when you're the smallest person on the team, you look forward to blowout games because that's when you get to play. I can still hear my coach's motivational speech now. Payton, we're up by a good 60 points, so it's all up to you to get out there and give some of our talented players a rest. Now, make your parents proud so they don't feel like they wasted their whole afternoon watching you talk to whoever's sitting next to you on the bench about Chris Farley. Well, that's all behind me now. I can more or less average height, I think. I can wake up confidently in the morning, look myself in the mirror and say, I guess this will do. Let's go out there and try to avoid all other reflective surfaces. Glass building. Go around the block. I also grew up religious, specifically Christian, specifically Baptist, which means I was privy to some of the most polite judgment and bland pot roast this side of the Mississippi. The key is to let both of them simmer in a crock pot for 20 years, and that's just an appetite. But I went to a private Christian school my whole life. I would be in church every Sunday, of course, and Wednesday night for a little bonus God action. And, I think my parents, they believed in it, but they weren't that adamant about it. We didn't discuss it at home. There weren't a lot of theological, sharing debates, I don't know. And so basically my family was the opposite of every dating profile you ever read. We were religious but not spiritual. You'll get that one when you go home. And maybe it's because they got to us at such a young age, and it's hard to take on these heady concepts of three beings that are the same person, and eternal life and death, redemption and retribution. You have to say it right. And I accepted all that by the time I was 4. You wouldn't let a 4-year-old open a can of soup all by themselves, but pledging their immortal soul to someone, they can handle. That's fine. They'll figure that out. They're brilliant. I remember the first time I saw an image of a bloody Jesus on the cross, I said, hey, am I allowed to look at this? I'm not allowed to watch Porky's. Seems incongruent. It's a fine film, but it didn't take. I don't believe in it anymore because I became a what do you call them there? A grown-up. Happens to some people. Yeah, I'm a godless heathen who keeps my eyes open during prayer to spot other non-believers like black people at a hockey game. I turned 35 this year, so I can feel myself aging out of the key demographic. Yeah, that's an applause-worthy age. Now advertisers look at me the same way women do. Not at all. They both might have had some use for me in the early 2000s, but that ship has long sailed. I think I'm aging at a normal pace, though, you know. Celebrities age at a much slower pace, I find, especially men. I read that Leonardo DiCaprio took home 20 models from his 40th birthday party. Then I remembered my dad's 40th birthday party. He took us to Olive Garden. And I took home 20 Andes Mints from the hostess station. Both those moves require a supreme amount of confidence. It's got to play through. But one thing that kind of bothers me about getting older is you're expected to be more tough the older you get. Like, if I'm getting to the end and maybe it's not looking great, I'm not going to pull the plug to go out with some dignity. I will cling to every machine they have available to keep me alive for as long as possible. I know that they will invent some sort of heart disease zapping machine the week after I pull the plug, because they made it so that you can get laid using your phone in a day right after I got married, so I'm not getting gypped again. Fool me once, shame on me. The nursery rhyme goes. My wife's birthday is actually coming up, and I kind of feel weird about buying her a present because she has a job and I don't. So if you think about it, that means I'd be using her money to buy her a present with, which makes me the human equivalent of the Amazon algorithm that just says, and you might also enjoy. It's not too fun. I've been married for the last 7.5 years, and yeah, I guess it's not like a long time. It's a good amount of time, and it's been wonderful. Very loving and intimate. I wouldn't have traded 1 minute of it for the world. So it's a shame it'll have to come to an end soon. You see, because one of us will more than likely want children in the near future, and the other one of us thinks that doing so will destroy his very soul and everything that knows about life. But I don't want to name names. You can guess who's who amongst yourselves. I don't want to have kids, and the reason, I guess, is all the reasons there are not to have kids. You name it, I got that one too. Name a reason not to have kids. Yeah, I got that one. That's the one I have. It's in my book. I guess I don't want to have kids because, they hold you back from achieving your life goals. And it's not the funny part, but yeah, we have a discussion about it. So, my dad was going to be... no, they hold you back from achieving your life goals, and I do such a good job of that all by myself. I got this one, baby. We're good. Stay back, Chester. We're going to name him Chester. But I guess, I don't know, what if she does insist on having one? Then what do? I guess on one hand, I could just go along with it, grin and bear a person that I never really wanted and merely tolerate them and resent them their whole life. But who wants to follow in their father's footsteps? I gotta pave my own way. I got some sympathy on that. He's fine. Although one thing that does bug me about being childless is that you sometimes find yourself spending an evening with other childless people, and hanging out with parents is rather taxing. It's kind of like spending an evening with a bunch of teenage Amish kids on their Rumspringa. They've gotten a little taste of freedom and they've gone way overboard with it. You know, they want to go see a band where the lead singer spits blood on you and do some drug that was invented 18 hours ago. Or they get us into the after party at a speakeasy because they know the password is pretentious, so we get right in there. I can't go toe-to-toe with you. I can go out any night I want. That's why I never go out. It's exhausting. I'm not going to cram it all in with you like we're shipping out to Omaha Beach in the morning. Just want to eat a meal and be on my way. But I actually don't know exactly where my wife stands on having a child because I'm too scared to ask her. You know, it's like getting test results. I know it's going to be something I don't want to hear. But because she's in the audience tonight, this is... Two and two together. This is us discussing it. So we talked about it, we ruled it out. You had nachos, it was great. I'll see you in bed later. Thank you very much.